Welcome back to That's Based. I'm your host, as always, Caleb Salvatore, reporting from somewhere underground. We're laughing our way through the end of days and brought to you by Outlaw Streamers along with our friends over at Blood of Tyrants Wines. If you head on over to drinkbloodofTyrants.com and use the promo code BASED, B-A-S-E-D, like the title of the show, you're going to save 10% off your order at the checkout. They've got both a red and white wine along with the Liquid Freedom energy drink. DrinkbloodofTyrants.com with the promo code BASED, B-A-S-E-D. Like the title of the show, you're going to save yourself 10% off your order at the checkout. One more time, it's drinkbloodofTyrants.com with the promo code BASED, B-A-S-E-D, like the title of the show. You'll save 10% off your order at the checkout. Well, I hope you all survived your hiatus from your favorite show dedicated to misinformation and petty beefs, but we're back. I hope everyone had a fantastic 4th of July. I hope you guys had a much better 4th of July than Jason Kelce, the former, now retired, I guess, center from the Philadelphia Eagles, the brother of Travis Kelce, who's dating Taylor Swift, as we all know, that the CIA, they set that thing up over there. But Jason Kelce tweeted out on the 4th of July, quite possibly the most heinous, disturbing message one could imagine. And I'm going to read it to you guys. I'm going to give you a trigger warning because it's a brutal one. And some of you might be a little traumatized after you hear this. So I just want to give you a forewarning in advance. Here's what this fascist monster, Jason Kelce, posted on his Instagram on the 4th of July. And I quote, "Man, I love the 4th. One of the great days we can all set aside our differences in this country and enjoy the one thing we all share in common, that we are American. Cheers to you, oh beautiful America." And he, end quote, and he was chastised for it, eaten alive on social media. Now, part of this is, part of me here sees this, and you know my opinion on cancel culture. I'm obviously against it, but I'm also a little bit less sympathetic to the people that have intentionally surrounded themselves with the mob. Whether you're famous or not, when you surround, birds of a feather flock together, right? Eventually the snake runs out of food, turns around and eats itself. So it's all fun and games when the mob's not coming after you, when you're pandering to that audience, trying to make as much money as possible off of it. It's all fun and games until they turn their rifle sights on you. To quote the Against Me song, "I Was a Teenage Anarchist." You listen to the lyrics to that song, it's about exactly what happens with modern day cancel culture. You know, it's all fun and games until they turn their rifle sights on you, till the mob switches up and comes after you. And I'm not saying Jason Kelce is joined in on the cancel mobs that we see, but Jason Kelce has, like I said, pandered to that element, that new element of fans that are interested in him because of his brother's relationship. And this is what you get, is you get a bunch of unhinged lunatics. Now, obviously, this post, this is so benign, so apolitical. If you're offended by Jason Kelce's post, I mean, you should swallow a shotgun shell, right? At the very least. Or it doesn't have to be a shotgun shell. It could be like glass or bleach or, you know, a bottle full of pills. Just something that gets the job done so we don't have to listen to you bitch anymore. But this is a bigger problem here. They ran a poll a couple days before the 4th of July. This isn't anything to do with Jason Kelce, this problem, or Taylor Swift or cancel culture mobs or any of it. It's pride in being an American is at a 20-year high right now. It's pretty impressive. A 20-year high across the board. But it's at a 20-year low for people who identify as Democrats. That's the disturbing part. And my friend over at Right Cheer put it perfectly. that Republicans have pride in their country, regardless of who the commander-in-chief is, whereas Democrats are only proud to be American if they're getting their way. That seems to be the general rule of thumb. I saw, and you always get one or two, and it's from the usual suspects, but you gotta admit, take an inventory, not idiots on Twitter, of your personal friends and family on Facebook, on social media in general, people you know in real life. The amount of people that were not just not celebrating the 4th of July, but we're using the 4th of July as a vehicle to outright attack America. I saw so many people, so many privileged people I know, mind you, posting about how much they hate America. The fact that you can even do that shows how great of a country we live in. I mean, let's use the logic of somebody saying they hate America from America and apply that to any other situation. Imagine I sit down at a bar to watch the Super Bowl, which is like a 5-hour event from start to finish. You get the halftime show, the national anthem, all that stuff. So I sit down at a bar to watch the Super Bowl. And I'm there for 10 minutes. Nobody's even spoken to me. No waiters or anything like that. No one's come to take my order, get me a drink, nothing like that. And I go, okay, something's up here. 30 minutes go by, and I haven't even gotten a beer. And I just start complaining about how much I hate this bar. Would it make sense for me to sit there and watch the remainder of the Super Bowl in that bar? Or should I just get up and go to one down the street? In fact, one could argue that if I stayed in that bar and just continued to bitch about how much I hate it, and I didn't try to get a manager involved to try to, make the situation better, nor did I get up and go to a different bar that I didn't hate. I just sat there and complained. I posted on Facebook. I mumbled under my breath about how much I hate this bar. You could only jump to one of two conclusions. Number one, that I didn't hate the bar as much as I said I did. Or number two, that I'm mentally ill and you shouldn't take my opinion seriously on anything else. I find it hilarious, the people posting from ivory towers about how much they hate America. It's the 4th of July equivalent of the guy that gets invited to the Super Bowl party and or football game in general and tries to make the fact that he doesn't like sports his whole personality. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Yay, sports ball! When do the commercials come on? That guy, that prick. You've got the 4th of July version of that is the person that talks, yeah, you want to celebrate stolen land? How can you celebrate America when we've got a fascist leading our country? Here's an idea. Here's a novel concept. Stay home. Don't go out on next 4th of July. Don't come out. None of us want to be around you anyways. Odds are, and this is almost across the board, the person, you remove politics from the equation. The person who's sitting there bitching about how much they hate America on Independence Day is probably just an insufferable person to be around year-round. Don't even talk about politics. Think about the people you know that are saying that and ask yourself, how many of these people do I enjoy being around in any other setting? At a wedding, at a barbecue, for a non-4th of July event, at a party on New Year's Eve. You probably don't want to be around that person at all. They're probably extremely fucking unpleasant. Because they're miserable people. Because their problem is not actually with America. Their problem is with themselves. Their problem is they hear all about how great America is, and then they look at their own lives, whether it's their personal life, romantic, mental health, financial, whatever the case, where they're at in their career, whatever the case may be. They look at the state of their own lives and they go, well, if America's so great, why am I such a fucking loser? I got news for you, sweetheart. You'd be a broke loser in every other country on the planet. In some of them, you'd be a dead broke loser if you opened your mouth up about the country the way you do about America. In many of them, you'd be an illiterate broke loser. I mean, imagine someone who's never left the country, grown up in an upper middle class neighborhood, posting on Facebook from your high-speed internet on your smartphone in your air-conditioned home about how much you hate the country that's given you all of those things, that's given you the opportunity to go out and do whatever you want. The opportunity, by the way, that you chose to squander. The vice president is the son of an alcoholic single mother from a trailer park in Kentucky. You have no excuse. You hate the country because it hasn't handed life to you on a silver platter. You hate the country. No, you don't hate the country. You hate yourself. That's what you're seeing with these people. Losers. Well, P. Diddy was found not guilty of everything other than soliciting a prostitute. And we didn't cover this trial a lot, mainly because it's not something that interested me. I'm not a big true crime guy. I got asked that the other day, are you a big true crime guy? I'm really not. And with my personality, that comes as a surprise to a lot of people. But I'm really not. I find mafia stuff to be particularly interesting, more from like a history perspective. I'm big into that kind of stuff, like old mob history. But that's really it. I don't obsess over serial killers and kidnappers and rapists and family murderers the way so many women who also refuse to carry a gun do for whatever reason. Go make sense of that. I mean, I'm just saying, if you most heart surgeons take really good care of their bodies because they see the results of people who don't. You'd think if you were constantly exposing yourself to people getting abducted and raped and murdered, you would take the appropriate precautions to prevent that from happening. But what do I know? But I'm not big into true crime. This case didn't really interest me. We touched on it a little bit. We touched on it when it first happened because it was looking like it was going to be the Hollywood version of Epstein. And then as the details started to come out, I followed it a little bit just to be in the know. And I called this when we brought it up last time. I said, Diddy's not a good guy. I'm not defending Diddy. But it kind of feels to me like they don't have enough to convict him. And that's where everyone freaks out. Oh, no, how dare you? How could you say that, you monster? Hold on. Defending a client in a court of law in the United States is not about whether or not somebody did it. It's about whether or not you can prove it. That's the important thing that people have to be able to differentiate here. The burden of proof lies on the prosecution. And the ideology behind that is that it's better to let 10 guilty men walk than hang one innocent man, even though it seems like we still do hang innocent people in this country sometimes. Literally or figuratively. But if you look at the actual details of this case, did he beat the shit out of Cassie? Yeah, it's on video, but the statute of limitations was up. This wasn't about domestic violence. This was about human trafficking. You know, they tried to charge this guy with RICO, RICO's for an organization. That's a criminal organization. That's like Capone and the cartels. Who were Diddy's cohorts? All we heard about was Diddy, Diddy, Diddy. You can't be a one-man RICO operation. So when you overcharge, defendants tend to walk. There's that. That's number one. Number two, the prosecution team was 6 white women. I know. 6 women overreacted. Who would have thought? Kidding, kind of. But I think the big thing with it, when I knew that they're not going to get him on most of this, is when they released the text message from Cassie that was something along the lines of, I had so much fun at the freak off last night, when's the next one? As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, they're not getting him on the big stuff here. There's no way. Because like I said, the burden of proof is on the prosecution. It's on the government. They have to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt, and that's the key phrase there, is beyond the shadow of a doubt, that he did what they said he did. All his defense team has to do is create enough reasonable doubt that they can't convict him. And he may have pointed a gun at her and made her send him that text message. He may have snatched the phone out of her hand and made her send him that text message. He may have brainwashed her to the point where she felt like she needed to send that text message. There's no proof of any of that. That's all speculation. The only thing there's proof of is that your star witness sent that text message that implied that she was consensual, or that it was a consensual relationship between the two of them. And when you've got a smoking gun text message like that from your star witness, I'm sorry, that creates enough reasonable doubt to let a guy walk. I'm not happy about it. This guy seems to be a monster from everything I've heard. And now he thinks he's an untouchable monster, so he's going to go back out and do whatever. But the American legal system, I don't know we can't make an exception because he's famous. That's not how this works. Granted, it seems to work the other way. We've got proof that people, and we'll talk about the Epstein stuff on Saturday. We've got proof that people did things, and we make the exception because they're rich and famous, and we let them walk. But what do I know? But I don't understand. When I heard about the text from Cassie, I was like, there's no way. There's no way they have enough to convict him. And sure as shit, I was right. So I don't know what people want. I don't know what people wanted out of this. We can't just convict people because we're in our fee-fees about it. Next up, Don Bacon, retiring from Congress. And Don Bacon said he was retiring from Congress. And I got to tell you, man, look at the before and after pictures of Don Bacon, Nebraska's 2nd District Republican representative. From when he took office to now, the guy's gained like 60 pounds. His face is red as a tomato. I don't know anything, but it looks to me like he's been hitting the booze a little hard based on some of his 1 a.m. tweets and his appearance. So it's obviously taken a toll on him, and he's run. I mean, it's, in my opinion, NE2 is the most difficult district in the country. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, if you're running for Congress, it's the most difficult congressional district in the country. It's the tightest race every single year. The guy has pulled off nail biter after nail biter, and while we don't agree with him on everything, he votes with us way more often than he does against us. So I'm not going to come out and bash him too much because he's trying to play politics in that district. I did endorse his opponent, Dan Fry, in the primary, and I voted for Bacon in the general. So, excuse me. So Bacon retired, and he said the reason he retired is because it was too much work. And it's like, you know what? Maybe it was too much work and it was too tiring. But it's really hard to say that when you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning arguing with meme accounts on Twitter. It's hard to defend somebody who's saying they're overworked when they're publicly doing that. You know what I mean? And then it's really hard to defend someone who says they're overworked, and then 2 days later goes, yeah, I think I might run for president in 3 years. So Congress was too hard. But you expect us to believe that you've got the stamina to be president. President. And I told you this was coming when the speculation began about Don retiring, that this presidential run was coming, because he's going to try to position himself for either a cabinet or a book deal or a correspondent, or a cabinet position or a book deal or a correspondent role on some like CNN or Fox or MSNBC, one of them. I told you that was coming. Some think tank garbage bullshit lobbyist job, right? Here it is. He's going to run. He's going to get dog walked. He'd be lucky to even make it onto the debate stage in the primaries, but he's going to run. That's the important thing to keep here. Because when he runs, the campaign managers get paid. The advertisers get paid. I mean, it's all a big money laundering deal, right? It's how to, maybe not money laundering's not. It's a big financial racket, what these guys do. Don Bacon's got to run for president so that the campaign managers and the staffers can all get their paychecks. And then they turn around and they give him, everybody pats everybody on the back. It's a sleazy business. It's a sleazy business. And there's very few people in that business that like you for you. If you find people in politics that are just cool people and don't view you as a means to an end, good on you. Those are tough to come by. I've met a few, but they're far and few between. So he's got two people looking to be the heir to the throne. By the way, if Don somehow becomes president, I hope they've restocked the White House bar. But he's got two people looking to become his heir in the Republican primary. He's got the first one's Brinker Harding, who is a city councilman from Omaha, out in West Omaha. He's a Republican. And he seems to be the establishment guy. He's got the endorsements of Deb Fischer, of Gene Stothard, of, all the usual ghouls, except one key ghoul, establishment hack Republican, has kept his name out of it, and that's Pete Ricketts. This is where you enter candidate number 2, Brett Lindstrom. That name sounds familiar because he's run for office a couple of times. Back in, I think it was 2012, he primaried Lee Terry and for this seat and didn't win. He was early Tea Party days. 2 years later, Dan Fry did it and almost knocked Terry off. He ran for governor as a Republican in 2022 here in Nebraska. And now he's back, hoping that the third time's the charm. He's also been a state senator. He played football for Nebraska. He's a financial advisor. And he marched in the 4th of July parade with a Ricketts t-shirt on before announcing his candidacy a day later. Interesting. So he appears to be Ricketts' boy. Now, there hasn't been anything official. There's no endorsement or money as of this recording, to my knowledge. But he appears to be the Ricketts guy. So you're going to see all of the establishment versus Ricketts, while Ricketts has got his own little battle that we're going to talk about on Saturday, which could be his Waterloo if he's not careful. Nebraska politics is going to get a little interesting this election cycle. I had the opportunity. I met Brett Lindstrom on Friday, on the 4th of July, at a pancake breakfast for the Douglas County Republican Party that I was invited to. I went there. He was serving people pancakes, and I got to say, if he does get elected, the pancake he put on my plate will be more than any of my other elected officials combined have ever done for me. So he'll already have that going for him. And, I mean, he's a nice guy. He seems like a nice enough dude. I don't have any beefs with him. I feel like I'm not ready to, and I know my endorsement will obviously push one or the other over the finish line. I'm not ready to endorse anybody yet. I'm certainly not going to endorse Harding because he seems to be the establishment candidate. But I'm not ready, a year before the primary to endorse Brett Lindstrom. He's who I'm leaning toward. I like to be transparent with you guys. But if somebody like a Dan Fry were to throw their name in the hat, that's probably who I'd end up endorsing. Not just because Dan did the show, either. By the way, Harding, Lindstrom, both welcome to come on the show, as are all the Democrats who are running. We would be happy to interview one of you guys. Specifically the Democrats. But we know that's not going to happen. Meth mouth John Kavanaugh's not coming on the show. Denise Powell would burst into flames at the mere sight of me. So it's not going to happen. But in a local political Facebook group, a third candidate has emerged for the Republican nomination. And I'm going to tell you, don't sleep on this guy. He could pull off the upset if the other two split the establishment vote and nobody else jumps into the race. There's a guy, and I can't find an official filing for him yet, but there's a guy who goes by the name of Jacob No Tips for Congress. And this guy has chosen an unorthodox issue to make the center of his campaign. Here's what he said in his announcement. For the last 15 years, the lightweight coward Don Bacon has sold out. But Bacon's been in office like 9 years, which makes this even funnier because he fucked this up on purpose. Has sold out alpha males in Nebraska's 2nd district. You can imagine my excitement when I learned yesterday, he posted this on July 1st, that Don's reign of feebleness would be coming to an end. That excitement didn't last long, as this morning we learned that the weak-jawed Brinker Harding would be running to replace him in a beta-for-beta swap. A recent internal poll suggested that in a race between half-wit Harding and snaggletooth Kavanaugh, 90% of voters would opt to have their fingernails ripped off with a pair of needle-nose pliers before voting for either of them. Very specific. This is completely unacceptable. We cannot let these 25% tipping betas continue to destroy our country. That's why I'm officially declaring my candidacy as a Republican for Nebraska's 2nd district. Now, here's where he gets in to his platform. I'm more shredded, better looking, richer, and more humble than any of my so-called quote-unquote opponents. And I'm absolutely furious that I'm still being asked to tip some below minimum wage food slouch who got my order wrong and smells like ditchweed. My platform is simple. Number 1, the Tip Abolition Act. Leaving a tip equals felony. 3 years minimum in federal prison with a $15,000 fine. Number 2, anabolic steroid legalization initiative. Make veins great again. Number 3, fitness mandate. Must be 10% body fat or below to vote. Number 4, stiff credits. Tax deductions for writing 0 on the tip line. Number 5, minimum wage reform. Servers now pay you $2.13 an hour for the honor of serving you. And number 5, faith-based flex zones in every city. Sunday is for church and shoulder day. This isn't about me. It's about you. It's about every hard-working American who's ever been manipulated by a sob story about student loans or rent due tomorrow by a drug-addicted single mother panhandling for a tip while trying to enjoy their Chili's triple dipper in peace. Join with me, stand with me, pose with me. It's time to make America alpha again, and I'm leaving a big fat 0 on the tip line of history. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not tip. Psalm 3:16, hashtag no tips crew, hashtag MAGA, hashtag drain the tip jar, hashtag server lives don't matter. I am in group chat with the person who runs the Facebook group that shared that with me. I'm leaning toward no tips right now. I think no tips might be the guy. He's got my vote. No one else is willing to stand so boldly. I mean, this guy, everyone's talking about 2026, 2028. This guy's talking about 2088. All right, he's looking to tackle the issues that we don't even know are the issues yet before they become the issues. This guy's playing 17-dimensional chess, thinking 55 steps ahead of the game. I'm going to vote for no tips if these are my 3 options. If he can figure out how to file, he's got my vote. Oh, I love the internet. Oh, my God. There you have it. Oh, man. Could you imagine if a guy, I mean, I'm sure this is a meme account. That's not him. And if you look at the pictures, you'll see what I'm saying. Could you imagine if a guy like that actually, ran? I mean, the posts would go, or excuse me, the media couldn't help but interview him. Because it would be a headline every time, right? It'd be a major story. You'd get some ridiculous quote from him. I mean, that is the most beautifully unhinged campaign announcement I've ever heard in my entire life. Jacob No Tips. Maybe we'll try to get him on the show. I doubt he'll answer. That would be my guess. Anyway, that has been our show. We will see you guys on Saturday. We're back in the swing of things. We're going to be talking about the Epstein files. We're going to be talking about Elon Musk forming a new party. We're going to be talking about the big, beautiful bill. All that fun stuff and more this Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, wherever you get your shows that we aren't banned. We are going to be looking... I'm hoping that nothing changes. There may, in about a couple weeks, there may be some weird interruptions of live streams. Audio episodes won't change, but hopefully we can get through without a hiccup. We're switching our multi-streaming software because StreamYard, I'll just air my dirty laundry out. StreamYard is raising the rates by 40%. 40%! Year to year for a software. They can't blame the tariffs. This is just greed. And I refuse to be scammed by this. So we're going to be finding, I found one. We just need to work the kinks out. We might just do like a bonus episode to make sure there's no problems with it. I know the horrors. You're going to get to see an extra clip of me at least once a week until we get this thing figured out. But we're just going to want to get in the swing of things. So anyway, that has been our show. We will see you guys Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and that'll be pre-taped because I will be drunk on the Elkhorn River when we air that one. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouse, and stay based.